Tricia with us? Tricia? Are you with us? Derminder? Are you with us? Okay, Whitney, I think we just have 3 board members missing. Greg Weston, Tricia O'Connor, and Derminder Bashan.
Okay, thank you, Denise. Good afternoon, everybody.
Workin.
And David Workin is not on as well?
He might be here. David, is that you under David?
Yeah, I'm David. Sorry. It's David Workins under
Okay,
David.
great.
Hi, David.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is our second meeting of the New York State Real Estate Board that we're conducting under the governor's executive order suspending certain provisions of the open meetings law. So we're doing this virtually. So because of that, I'm going to ask you, if you're not speaking, to keep your phones on mute so we don't pick up any unwanted background noise. And also, when you speak, if you make a motion or second a motion or vote on one, please identify yourself for the record. Okay, so I'm going to go through and do the roll call. Greg Weston. Tricia O'Connor. Derminder Bassan. Dale Burnett.
Here.
David Dworkin.
Here.
Raquel Vasquez.
Present.
Diane Ramirez.
Present.
Sandra Erickson.
Here.
Neil Garfinkel.
Present.
Edwin Clark.
Here.
And Duncan McKenzie.
Present.
Okay, thank you, everybody. David, I believe we have a quorum. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is approval of the April 27th meeting summary, which you all should have received in the board materials that Denise emailed to you. I trust you've all had a chance to read it. And if so, I'd like a motion to approve the meeting summary.
I move to approve.
Is that Duncan?
That's Duncan. Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Duncan. Do I have a second?
Diane Ramirez, a second.
Thank you, Diane. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the meeting summary is approved. Thank you, everybody.
Excuse me, Whitney.
Yes.
Tricia is trying to join us. I'm going to have to try to get her the WebEx link.
Okay.
So she'll be joining us.
I just responded to the email with.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, so the first items on the agenda are the department and subcommittee reports. First up is Ernest Delaney with an enforcement update. Ernest?
Good afternoon. So this enforcement investigations report will cover from January to July 2020. And over that period, we've opened a total of 238 real estate complaints. During that same time, we closed a total of 250. We closed for investigation a total of 250 complaints. And when we look at the breakdown of how these investigations were closed, 10 were closed as abandoned. The complainant did not follow up with their complaint. 24 were closed as we felt that the matter was a civil matter and better addressed in the courts, the civil courts. 15 were closed as withdrawals, as the complainant did not want to continue on with the investigation with their complaint. 7 were closed as hold, and that would allow us to address issues with the licensee at a later time. 20 were closed as resolved or settled. 10 were closed with us issuing either an instruct or a reprimand to the licensee. 35 were closed because we felt we had no jurisdiction over the matter. 37 were closed as no violation. And a total of 58 was sent to hearing with a recommendation of disciplinary action against the licensee. I don't have the numbers for our total current caseload. Yeah, I forgot to doing that. But are there any other questions?
Okay. Thank you, Ernest. Okay, next up is Emily Lupi with the processing report. Emily?
Hello. Included in the materials you were provided is a report of the number of current real estate licensees for June 2019 and June 2020. The report groups licensees into broker and branch office licenses and salesperson licenses. The totals are listed by county. The 2020 numbers include only active licenses and do not include those licensees whose licenses may have expired and are covered by Executive Order 202.11, which allows individuals licensed by the Department of State to extend the expiration of their license during the state of emergency. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Emily.
All right.
And next up is Marcy Rose with the Education and Examination Report. Marcy?
Good afternoon. I will be providing the examination statistics for the real estate salesperson and broker examinations. In 2019, the real estate salesperson examination pass rate was 51%. And the real estate broker examination pass rate was 64%. In 2018, the real estate salesperson examination pass rate was 52%, and the real estate broker examination pass rate was 65%. Are there any questions on the examination report? Okay.
I have a question. I don't know if it'll be asked. This is Trisha. Do you know when the examinations will begin again?
Actually, Tricia, we're going to be providing information on that under new business under Mary Jo Moore's examination today. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks, Mark.
I also have an update, sorry, for the 2019 audit of real estate qualifying education for the 75-hour salesperson course. Out of the 2,831 licensees audited, 2,751 have complied, 29 have chosen to surrender their license, and 48 have been sent to hearing. The department is still in process of communicating with 3 licensees. And then I also had an update to the request made at the April 27th, 20 board meeting regarding live distance education. The department will continue to allow educational providers to offer courses in the live distance education delivery method for real estate qualifying and continuing education courses. For educational providers who wish to offer live distance education for a new course, they will need to submit an original application. Educational providers who wish to offer live distance education for a course already approved for a traditional classroom setting can submit a new application indicating a change in the procedures for taking attendance, along with the existing course code number. A description of the educational provider's proposed method for live distance education would need to accompany those applications, and there will be no additional fee for educational providers adding a type of delivery method. Are there any questions?
This is Trisha again. Is the Arello requirement still required in order to teach distant learning?
Yes, for computer-based, the Arello certificate is, or the timing mechanism is required.
Okay.
This is just for live distance education.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Marcy. Okay, first item under new business, executive order update. David, what's the latest with the executive orders?
Hi, everyone. So there are 2 executive orders that I'd mentioned at our last meeting that I just wanted to give a brief update on. The first is 20211, which was previously discussed, extending the expiration date of licenses. That EO was extended again under EO 202.48. The new expiration date for that executive order is August 5th. So under the terms of that order, any license which would have been then in effect would be continued 30 days after that expiration date, so it would continue until September 5. The other executive order that I mentioned at our last meeting was EO 202.7, which permits electronic notarization for closings and for any other documents that need to be executed. That EO was also extended under 202.48, and that also expires on August 5.
Okay, thank you, David.
Welcome.
Next up is Mary Jo Moore with an update on the resumption of our written exams. Mary Jo?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. The division suspended all license exam services on March 16th due to COVID-19. Since March 16th, 265 real estate broker and 2,318 real estate sales exam candidates were sent cancellation notices by email. And the exams remain suspended statewide until the week of July 7th. The division restored real estate license exams here in Albany on July 7th. And since that date, we've already held 2 broker and 14 real estate sales exam sessions here in Albany. As of this week, we restored real estate license exams at our sites located in Binghamton, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Utica, Hauppauge, and Franklin Square. And we plan to restore real estate exams in the Hudson Valley region and New York City region in August. So the real estate exam candidates whose exams were canceled due to COVID-19 were sent an email notification of their exam cancellation. Our office is rescheduling these candidates for their next exam when exams in their region are restored. The rescheduled candidates are sent an email notification which advises them that their exam has been rescheduled and refers them to their online account for their new exam date and time. The email also provides a link to the exam candidate mandatory COVID-19 precaution checklist. Once all previously canceled exam candidates in a region have been rescheduled, a set of new exam dates and times for that region will be posted for online scheduling. And the candidates who've not had a previous exam canceled should monitor their online account for those future exam dates, and they can schedule their exams at that point. We've established a variety of COVID-19 safety measures for our exam sites and proctors, as well as the exam candidates. And our exam proctors are responsible for ensuring measures are followed appropriately. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, this is Neil Garfinkel. Just wondering, has there been any discussion about using electronic testing in the future?
Yes. Yes. This is Whitney. Yes, that's something we've actively been looking into. You know, it's one thing to resume the exams, but we're looking to do it better and smarter, so that if we're ever in this predicament again, we won't have to suspend exam operations. So we're very actively looking into technology solutions for online exams. I don't have anything to report on that at this meeting, but hopefully that at an upcoming meeting, we'll have some more information for you on that.
Great. Thank you, Whitney.
You're welcome.
Any further questions?
Okay. Thank you, Mary Jo.
You're welcome.
Okay. This next item, one of the board members contacted us before this meeting asking for an update on an enforcement initiative that we did last year looking at the use of titles by real estate salespeople and associate brokers, primarily identifying themselves as a president, vice president, officer, or principal in a brokerage company. So Jack Lillo was our lead investigator on that audit, and he's going to provide you with an update on where we are. Jack?
Hi, thank you. So since approximately the spring of 2018, the enforcement unit has conducted numerous audits and investigations regarding real estate brokers who place advertisements in which I guess they fall into two categories. We have instances where the titles of the licensees, in that case, I mean, they're like the license type of the licensees, such as a real estate salesperson, real estate broker, associate broker, is not in the advertisement. Or as Whitney mentioned, we have investigations involving brokers who are allowing salespersons and associate brokers to be using inappropriate corporate titles, such as vice president, president, executive director, treasurer, etc. So since the spring of 2018, we've conducted and completed approximately 30 such investigations. We've collected, we've issued fines in connection with these cases. We've collected approximately a little bit over $93,000 in fines from the brokers involved in these cases. The fines ranged anywhere from $1,000 to, in some cases, $11,000. We still have, we're still actively pursuing this initiative. We have about 28 of these active investigations that we're still working on. The brokers involved in the current cases involve the commercial real estate brokers, the residential brokers, and the investigations involve brokers statewide. We're not just focusing on one particular region. You know, they involve brokers in Central New York, Long Island, New York City, Capital Region, Western New York, and that's pretty much where we're at right now. Like I said, we're actively pursuing these violations. Does anyone have any questions regarding these cases?
This is sorry. This is David Dworkin. Is just for clarifications, they licensed real estate broker, licensed salesperson. Are they allowed to add a title as part of that? So vice president or licensed real estate salesperson, comma vice president or managing director, or are all corporate titles to be stripped from that?
No, it's a good question. If you're a real estate broker and licensed, if you're licensed as a real estate broker, you can use your title, whether it's executive vice president or president, et cetera, in your advertisement. But the prohibition has to do essentially with real estate salespersons and associate brokers who are identified inappropriately as having some type of corporate status or ownership interest in the advertisement. So if a salesperson called themselves in an advertisement, if a salesperson was referred to in an advertisement as a vice president, that would be the type of violation that we would investigate and pursue.
Thank you.
But maybe I just understood the question, but if they said associate broker with a corporate title attached to it, would that be a problem?
Yes, it would be, because associate broker is not, would not be the broker of record of that particular brokerage firm, and so therefore the associate broker could not use that title in the advertisement. The same as a salesperson couldn't use it either.
This is found in the statute. Dave Mossberg, if you have the statute handy, could you just explain the statutory provision and how the prohibition applies?
Yes. So I'm actually just pulling that up right now. So it actually is part of, I believe it's RPL. I apologize. 441. Westlaw is just loading. I apologize. So the prohibition, sorry, it says that an application for a salesperson may not be in the name of somebody who is also an officer of the corporation. And so because salespeople are not allowed to be officers of corporations, the same rule applies to associate brokers who are corporate brokers by choice, who basically work as sort of the equivalent of a salesperson. And so the prohibition of them having officer titles is extended under the same statute. The reason for that, or the rationale for that, is that the salesperson and the associate broker are supervised under the statute and the department's regulations by the corporate brokers of record. And so if it would create, or at least one of our old administrative law judge decisions had indicated, it would create sort of this untenable situation where you would have a salesperson who in theory and under the statute is supposed to be supervised by the corporate broker. But if that salesperson was actually an officer of the company, there would be sort of a power dynamic shift wherein the salesperson may be able to, influence the corporate broker's decision making with respect to the brokerage, the operation, supervision, all of the things that are generally in the sphere of the broker to sort of have control over. And so that's why there's a statutory prohibition that prohibits an application or a license to be issued to a salesperson if they have a corporate ownership in the brokerage. And so that's why they can't use titles like associate broker / vice president, because that would be that would denote sort of an officer status of the corporation.
This is
Thank you.
Sorry, David. If I can just ask one more follow-up on that, with respect to what I guess I'll consider a non-corporate title. What about and this is speaking commercial for the moment, director of leasing?
So, I mean, there is no distinction legally between, residential brokers versus corporate commercial. They're really under all the same sort of the same statute. It's all under one statute, and so it would be sort of difficult to parse out, from the consumer's perspective, whether or not they would be sort of misled or confused that somebody who's a director may not understand that it's that type of nuance or potentially a distinguishing feature. And so the department has held previously that those titles have to, or the correct title should be the license type. For example, something that we said would be allowed was if the broker also happens to be like a lawyer, a CPA, an appraiser, if they were a member of a trade organization. They could use those titles, which could be sort of vetted and bona fide. But something like an arbitrary title that they're creating for basic inquiry purposes isn't really consistent with the statute and the regs. And for everyone's sort of general awareness, the department, when the last round of advertising regulations were recently adopted, there's a whole checklist on our website about like how to use titles, guidance, that was prepared specifically to address things like this. I believe an email, the last one out to all the license holders, and so. I think we really strongly encourage everybody, including board members, interested stakeholders, to review the department's website for that guidance, because I think it does a good job of explaining what the rules require.
Thank you, David. And you said that was RPL 441?
Sorry, I will double check that. You know what? I can send you an email with the whole texted it. Yeah, I'll send it to Denise, and Denise can send the whole statute to all the board members. This way you have a copy of it.
Thank you, David.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, Jack and David, thank you very much. And actually, David, you're up next with information on a proposed regulation for a cease and desist zone in Kings County.
Okay, great. So on March 5th, the department held a public meeting at the NYPD Community Center in Brooklyn, New York. The purpose of the meeting was to explore whether or not members of a particular area in Brooklyn, it's principally the area commonly referred to as Community Board 5, if members of that particular community were subject to what the New York property law refers to as persistent and intense solicitations by either real estate professionals, so individuals licensed under 12A, or investors, property flippers, etc., if they were subject to sort of intense and repeated solicitations to sell their homes. Following that March 5th meeting, the department gathered examples of solicitations. There was members from the community, elected officials that spoke about the conditions in the community, and the department, we reviewed the information that was received, and on July 1st published in the State Register a notice of proposed rulemaking to adopt a cease and desist zone for a portion of the area compromised, consisting of Community Board 5. So currently we are in the public comment period, so that any member of the public that wishes to comment, can send in a comment that will be considered by the department before any final action on the proposal takes place. As many of the board members probably know, a cease and desist zone basically permits homeowners within a specific limited geographic area to register their homes with the department. The department then publishes a list of addresses and names. And then if somebody who's regularly engaged in real estate or one of our licensees then attempts to solicit that individual by mailing them something, going to their home, knocking on the door, trying to solicit them, they can be subject to departmental action. And so right now, as I said, the comment period is still ongoing, and once the comment period expires, the department will review everything received, and thereafter may take actions to include to adopt a reg or do a revised notice of proposed. But we won't really know what the next step is until we review all the comments that we receive.
Okay, thank you, David.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, does anyone know of any new business items that they would like added to our next meeting agenda? No? Okay, if you do think of something, just email that to Denise. And Denise, do we have a date for our next board meeting? Denise?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we do. It is December 14th at 10:30 a.m. Monday, December 14th, 10 a.m. is the next board meeting.
Okay. So hopefully we'll be able to see everybody in person then. So that leads to the adjournment of the meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Sandra. Do I have a second?
Diane Ramirez, second.
Thank you, Diane. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you on December 14th.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Aye, everyone.